Truth has no paths, and that is the beauty of truth. It is alive. With these words, Jiddu Krishnamurti urges us to free our minds from conventions and immerse ourselves in the authentic experience of living, without seeking predefined answers or pre-established paths. This video aims to address two fundamental questions that have accompanied human beings throughout history. What is the meaning and purpose of our existence? And why do we feel the need to seek meaning in life? Through the revolutionary thought of Jiddu Krishnamurti, a philosopher and spiritual teacher who dedicated his life to challenging conventions and seeking authentic truth, we will explore these questions to discover new perspectives and profound reflections. But first, it is essential to take a look at his extraordinary life, an existence that truly deserves attention. He was born on May 11, 1895 in Madanapalli, a small village in southern India. His childhood was marked by extraordinary events. Raised in a family of modest means, his destiny changed radically when, still an adolescent, he was noticed by members of the Theosophical Society, a spiritual movement that aimed to unite the religions and philosophies of the world. He was adopted and educated by the leaders of the society, who identified him as the future world teacher, a figure destined, according to their beliefs, to bring a message of spiritual renewal to humanity. His education was meticulously crafted with special attention to philosophy, spirituality, and Western languages. This allowed him to travel to Europe and the United States, where he was presented as an almost divine figure. Yet, this idealized vision did not match his personality, which from the beginning showed a deep inclination toward intellectual autonomy and freedom of thought. And so, in 1929, at the age of 34, in an event that shocked the spiritual world, Krishnamurti officially rejected the role that had been assigned to him. In his now famous speech, he dissolved the Order of the Star, the organization created to support him, and declared that truth is a pathless territory. With these words, he rejected all spiritual authority, including his own, declaring that no institution, dogma, or teacher could point the way to truth. After this breakup, a new chapter in his life began. For over 50 years, he traveled continuously, giving lectures and dialogues in every corner of the world. He spoke before large audiences and small groups, addressing universal themes such as freedom, fear, love, and the nature of the mind. His vision, deeply rooted in direct experience, led him to avoid any form of spiritual hierarchy or fixed organization. He did not want followers, but interlocutors willing to explore with him the fundamental questions of life. In the 1960s, he settled in Ojai, California, where he created a foundation to preserve and spread his teachings. Part of this legacy was also reflected in the foundation of schools in different parts of the world, inspired by his vision of education. These institutes, created to promote freedom of thought and self-understanding, represent an innovative approach to learning, far from traditional methods and focused on personal exploration and awareness. Despite his advanced age, he continued to speak publicly until a few months before his death on February 17, 1986, in California, from pancreatic cancer. His legacy is not limited to his speeches or his books, but to the inspiration he continues to offer to anyone who seeks to understand themselves and the world with a mind free from prejudice and conditioning. If you like, you can support the channel by leaving a precious like, and if you haven't already done so, by subscribing to the channel. Many thanks to all our subscribers. In fact, for centuries, people have wondered what the meaning of life or existence in general is. But perhaps even before that, we should ask ourselves another question. Why seek a meaning in life? Is it really essential to have a purpose, to live fully? Often, this question arises from a sense of dissatisfaction, from days that seem repetitive, empty, and devoid of stimuli, leading to wondering if there is something greater to hold on to. Well, according to Krishnamurti, it is dissatisfaction that pushes the human being to ask himself these questions, not so much to find authentic answers, but to escape from reality. The search for meaning, he said, risks turning into an escape, a way to avoid facing what really matters, the relationship with oneself and with one's own existence. Escaping from reality is one of the greatest obstacles to understanding life. The search for a purpose, a god or an ideal, often represents an illusion. So, the first step towards this understanding is to turn to oneself. He believed that the key to discovering the truth was to learn to know oneself deeply. Looking inside oneself without fear, without prejudice, and without judging what one finds requires courage, but allows one to see things with a new clarity, free from illusions or expectations. This introspection is not an end in itself, but represents a door that opens to the understanding of the world and the relationships that define it. Relationships. Here, according to Krishnamurti, conscious relationships and love are the heart of the meaning of life. Relationships, authentic ones, are born when we open ourselves to others with transparency and availability, without manipulation or ulterior motives. Love, on the other hand, is not an unattainable ideal or something to build, but a real force that exists when we live in harmony with the world. For him, love is not tied to possession or control, but is something eternal, present in every authentic gesture. This love manifests itself in everyday life, in small, conscious actions that do not aim to obtain something in return, but that arise from a sense of connection with what surrounds us. He saw love as a divine and at the same time deeply human force that does not need to be achieved or sought, but simply lived. This is how one can find the true meaning of life, not in great theories or definitive answers, but in living each day with authenticity and awareness. So if we wanted to summarize in a few words what Jiddu Krishnamurti thinks is the meaning of life, we could say, live fully in the present. Stop looking for answers outside yourself, but instead, welcome the present moment and all that it brings with it. Only then can you experience the true essence of life, the true meaning of existence, a meaning that does not need purposes or justifications. That's all for today. Goodbye. See you soon.